I've never heard any of you present. I've never heard you pitch your organisation. I have no idea. But you could be fantastic at your job. You could be a brilliant financial planner, fantastic accountant, cutting-edge lawyer, great business person, terrific with your clients. Your clients might absolutely love you because they know you and they've worked with you for a long time. But the people who don't know you, or the people who don't know you well, the people who are seeing you present, are going to judge you partly on the basis of everything that you've done before the pitch. Okay, so the reputation that you have, things that they've heard about you, they're probably coming to see you because they've got a recommendation, or they've had a referral, or they've heard about you, or they've done a little bit of due diligence on the internet to find out how to look at some of your clients, how to look at some of your experience. Sure. But when you're actually sitting in front of them, or when you're standing in front of them, or when you're delivering a client information seminar, or when you have people coming along to see you who don't know you, they're judging you perhaps unfairly on some things that have very little to do with the back office, with what you actually do. How do we make judgment calls about people when we meet them the first time? We judge them on the way in which they talk, on how well they engage with us, on the vibe. It's this sort of almost indefinable thing, which is a bit unfair because there are some fantastic accountants in this room, in this conference. There are some brilliant financial planners who perhaps are their own worst enemy because even though they're terrific at their job, they're perhaps not great at this stuff. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go over the top. I'm just saying that if you want to engage me as a client, as a customer, as a potential client, you're much more likely to engage with me if your personality comes out. And what I allowed you to do, perhaps with the nature of the topic, is to let your personality come out more. I'm amazed with how often at conferences I have conversations with speakers off stage the night before at drinks in the exhibition area, and they're lovely, engaging, delightful, funny, interesting, quirky, wonderful people who are easy to get on with and very easy to relate to and very engaging. But then the same person puts on a suit, gets dressed up for game day, and comes and stands up here, and suddenly all of that personality that they have, because I chatted with it last night, all of that personality drifts out the window. What a pity. If I'm going to be engaging you, I'm talking now from the perspective of a client, of a customer, a potential client or customer. It's not just about the fact that you're really good at your job, because I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you're good at your job, otherwise I wouldn't have been there in the first place. But if I want to choose you, which is what a pitches are basically you saying, pick me, pick me, pick me, right? That's basically what it is. Hand up, pick me, don't pick them, I'm the one. Then I want to feel that I know you a little bit, that I want to deal with you. A good pitch actually should feel more or less like I'm just sitting down having a cup of coffee with you, getting to know you. You're getting to know me, but I'm also getting to know you. How often when you're meeting somebody do you almost change your personality? And that's what I see happening. The person who I spoke to off stage, that was their real personality. The way that you guys just were then, that was probably your real personality. And I'm not saying that anyone's being disingenuous or fake, but it's very, very common for people when they switch into presentation mode, when they start the actual pitch, that the personality goes out the window. And all I'm saying is, don't be afraid to keep some of that personality, never at the risk of being unprofessional. There's nothing that I've said that is suggesting that you be unprofessional. I'm actually saying just be more authentic, be more you, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you can do a great job, but I want to be able to deal with you as a person. So authenticity is the key. Please don't think that I'm suggesting that you should be putting on a show. I'm not suggesting you should be more animated than you're comfortable with. I'm not suggesting that you should be doing things that are not comfortable to you. A lot of people think that if they're a quieter person, if they're more of a introvert, that they can't be good at presenting and pitching. That is not the case at all. Some of the best people out there doing great pitches and great presentations are relatively quiet and shy people. But their personality, which everyone has, that comes out, that warmth comes out in the way in which they present. If you are that more wild and wacky, slightly extroverted, a bit quirky, funny sort of person, then don't rein that in too much when you're presenting. As long as you're professional, if that's who you are, then that's very engaging. That's your personality. So it's authenticity that you're after, not trying to be something that you're not. I would never want people to think that I'm suggesting that you should be putting on a show. It's not a show at all. It's the opposite of a show, the total opposite of a show. A lot of presentation skills trainers suggest that you do things that you're not comfortable with. I'm saying forget all that, concentrate more on the things that you are comfortable with, that come naturally, that make you who you are. The reason I hear a lot of people saying how much they love their financial planners often is because they're just really genuinely lovely people, and I feel that I've got to know them well and they understand me well. Okay, they're not putting on a show. That's not what I'm suggesting. Somebody said before, smile. It is amazing how often people get up to do a presentation or a pitch and how little they actually smile. What am I suggesting to you? This is what I see happening. People start their pitch and they go, okay, thanks very much. I really appreciate you giving me time to pitch my organisation today. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. Right, smiling. And then they go, okay, so let's get down to business. Smile disappears. They then pitch for 20 minutes and then they finish and they go, okay, any questions? No? Great. Thanks very much. And then the smile appears again. What I'm suggesting to you is to look happy and excited the whole time you're presenting. I'm not saying smile the whole time. All right? I'm not talking about some sort of creepy person, now let's talk to you about death duties, okay? I'm not suggesting that. I'm talking about the look on your face and your body every time you're speaking to potential clients that basically says, I love this stuff. Like I live it, I breathe it, it's important, it's valuable, it'll change your life, it'll help your kids, it'll help your, everything, all of that. That type of passion needs to come across. And again, I'm not referring to any individual person, but at conferences over and over again, I hear people who are experts, leaders in their field, they look bored. They look like they don't want to be there. They look like they're going through the motions. Such a shame. Such a shame. If you love your work as much as you say you love your work, then it needs to come out in your pitch. And that in itself is something that is infectious. I'm amazed with how often I sit in a conference listening to subjects sometimes that I know nothing about, that on the face of it I never thought I would have been interested in, but the person talking about it is digging that subject so much that I'm sitting there going, yeah, tell me more, that's really interesting. I never thought that I would be interested in whatever it is that they're talking about. And you guys have the ability to do that, but are you doing that when you're talking? Again, I'm not saying be more passionate, more enthusiastic than you actually are. I'm saying be as passionate as you actually are, but does that come across when you're presenting? Humour's an interesting one. A lot of people say, well, isn't it important to use humour? Shouldn't I tell jokes? Shouldn't I try and make it a little bit funny? Won't that engage my audience? Won't that make me seem human? Humour's one to be very careful of. If you are the sort of person who has a natural sense of humour, if it comes naturally to you, if you're comfortable telling a joke, an appropriate joke, okay, appropriate joke. If you're comfortable with it, if it comes naturally, then that absolutely is part of your authenticity piece. Be the person with the black sense of humour when you're presenting. Don't overdo it, but let that come out because that's very engaging. But if you're not, I would never suggest that people feel this pressure to be funny. Okay, you can see it when people are trying and it's not working. No one is expecting you to be funny. Okay, if I want funny, I'll watch a funny DVD. Okay, I don't expect you to be funny, but if I'm having a conversation with you, if you're doing a presentation to me and there's a little bit of jocularity, a little bit of humour, fantastic, because that makes you engaging. No one's ever going to walk out of a meeting with you and go, yeah, I'd really like to go to that accountant, but just a little bit too funny for me. It's not something that you hear too often, and it's not something that you hear too often with respect about accountants, but you don't. And then we have the beauty, the luxury in 2014, when we're doing a pitch, of something that people didn't have 10 years ago. We have the luxury that we can find out a lot about our audience or about that potential client or about that potential company that we might be trying to pitch for. We can find out a lot about the people who we're pitching to legally by stalking them on social media. And I'm quite serious about this. I am amazed with how easy it is, and I know that a lot of you would do this already, by hopping onto LinkedIn or Facebook or other social media sites, but LinkedIn has just got a wealth of information. If I'm pitching to Nick, let's say that Nick is going to be coming in together with a couple of people and I'm going to be doing a pitch to Nick. I've got to be thinking, okay, well, let me have a conversation with Nick, find out some stuff, but let me hop onto LinkedIn. Let's have a look at who Nick is linked into. Let's have a look at who his friends are. We all work in an industry where the odds are you'll have a look at Nick and you'll find out that Nick knows John and John knows Paula and Paula knows Alice and all these people that you know. You can start to create that network. You can start to put ideas into Nick's head about how good you are without even having spoken to Nick. Simply by finding out that Nick's friends with somebody else, you can ring that person and say, do you know Nick? Yeah, absolutely, Nick's one of my clients. Well, next time you see Nick, can you tell him that you know me? And before you know it, Nick's not coming in blind to me. Nick's already got a recommendation from somebody else. Again, I know that some people are doing that, but lots of opportunities to be finding out lots of information about people. And then I can find out what's going to push Nick's buttons before I've even met Nick. I can find out what sort of person he is, maybe how I should be directing my pitch, maybe an angle that I should be taking.